Cody Rhodes is going to Wrestlemania!
Here is your winner of the Men's Royal Rumble, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes!
For the first time in over a quarter of a century, a man has gone back to back to win the Royal Rumble match. And for Cody Rhodes, the miracle, the opportunity, the chance to finish the story is alive and well.
Ladies and gentlemen, I told you so. I told you so. Even though I know my prediction said for CM Punk to win the Royal Rumble, but I told y'all that one way or another, Cody Rhodes was going to finish his story. I thought it was going to be going through a more harder task, him not winning the Royal Rumble, but then there seemed to be a sense of too much Dusty, which I did not put it into perspective until they started talking about it on the show. How St. Peter's, Florida is Dusty territory. That's Dusty land. Dusty cemented a good portion of his career and legacy down there. So did y'all really think after this was talked about, and I didn't hear it until last night, that Cody wasn't going to win the Royal Rumble? For everybody that thought, oh, the reports, the dirt sheets, everyone is saying, Triple H is saying Cody is not going to finish the story. We're going to get The Rock, since he now owns his name. We're going to get Rock and Roman at WrestleMania 40. We're going to get CM Punk versus Roman at WrestleMania 40. That's the draw. That's a bigger draw. That's, box up. That's going to generate numbers, this and the third. Do y'all understand and realize that WrestleMania has been sold out for months now? They were sold off of just the premise of it being in Philly. It's the 40th one. And all their tickets was pretty much pre-sale tickets, I believe, was already sold out before they opened the tickets for the general audience. This was already set in stone. They already was going to make history with WrestleMania before CM Punk even showed up. Ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by Royal Club Wrestling Podcast. This is Wrestle Talk with yours truly. I am the franchise. I'm excited about this episode. We're talking Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble was Saturday. And we got a lot. We had a lot to discuss. We do have so much to get into. This is my favorite time of the year because we all know this is WrestleMania season. This was the kickoff to WrestleMania. The first stop on the road to WrestleMania. Now, normally, y'all know how we do it here on Royal Club. We have our match. We talk about the match of the night, the performer of the night, the OMG moment, the feel-good moment. We talk about all that, which we are going to get into. We are going to get into that. We are going to get into what I think is going to happen now that we have the winners of the Royal Rumble, both men's and women's. What's going to happen now with the other titles? It's been pretty much declared Cody Rhodes is going to face Roman Reigns. We've already knew that. We knew that from last year when he lost. His goal was to finish the story. His goal was to face Roman Reigns again. So now we're stuck with, who will Seth Rollins go off and face at WrestleMania? It's clear cut. We all kind of have an idea of who it's going to be. But how are we going to get to that? Bayley cemented her spot by winning the Royal Rumble. Who is she going to choose? Everybody's thinking it's going to be, obviously, the betting odds is going to be Rhea Ripley, because she has said, I'm going to challenge Rhea Ripley for the women's world title. But I'm not sure about that one. So then if that doesn't happen, where does that leave Mommy? And then there's so much in between. So let's dive into the match of the night, which I think, in my opinion, was the match of the night. First off, before I even go there, let's overall, my opinion on the Royal Rumble, it was a solid show. It wasn't the best Royal Rumble. And I think the reason why is because there was so many outlets. And this is particularly why I started saying this some time ago, that I was no longer going to be paying attention to the dirt sheets. I wasn't gonna look into the dirt sheets and the ringside news and cage side and all those other websites and blogs and all that, because of this exact moment. So many people was expecting returns. I know, for one, and I'm still holding on to the hope that Mercedes Moné does come to WWE and doesn't go to AEW. Especially because now you are seeing, with the change of the guard officially, which I will get into in the next episode, but with the changing of the guard, with Triple H officially at the head of creative, and you're seeing the direction that he's going, and we're seeing the women getting spotlighted more. Like, in my opinion, I think the women's Royal Rumble was better than the men's Royal Rumble. You now have a spot where she can come back and do her and do her thing. I already told y'all what I think should happen. Obviously, that's not going to happen now with Bayley winning the Royal Rumble. But what if? What if she doesn't really go to AEW, but they save her for the night after Mania? Because we all know we all know this right here is going to be the first Mania Raw after Mania, in which Triple H is going to be running the show. We seen what happened last year. It was not the best one because we all know that he who shall not be named even though I will say his name in the second part, but just he who shall not be named came out and just ripped up whatever Triple H plan was and went about this. So any returns or anything like that we're so used to getting after Mania didn't happen. It can happen this year. You know, like I said, I'm still holding on to hope that Mercedes Moné does come to the WWE. I think that she would flourish more here than there. But I feel like there was too much speculation, too much chitter chatter surrounding this year's Royal Rumble that when they ended up not fulfilling what they wanted to do. A lot of the people were expecting, The Rock to show up. Didn't happen. I even noticed that during the Royal Rumble, maybe the last 3 entrances, I was hearing a slight chant of The Rock. I was hearing it. And it made me think, and even me and my brother, because I watched it at my brother's house, and me and my brother were sitting there, my brother was like, what if The Rock shows up at the Royal Rumble? And I'm like, I don't know. I was also paying close attention to the lineup. Okay. And the reason why I was bringing up the lineup is because they stated that Roman's match was going to be second, but nothing was really confirmed yet. But they were saying it was going to be they weren't sure. And I looked at it like many other people looked at it as is if Roman main events, that leads to the possibility that we may get The Rock to show up and do a face-off. But when, speculation was going around that Roman is not going to be at the Elimination Chamber, it doesn't make sense. Because if you remember the last episode I did, I stated you could get Rock Roman at Elimination Chamber. You heard when I played Bully's take about the Polynesian culture, the Samoan culture, having a heavy presence down there. Why not? Treat it like it's a Saudi, the Saudi events. You then have them saying, we want him there. We will do whatever we have to do to get him there. There was the speculation that he had a conversation with a Make-A-Wish kid, and apparently he told the Make-A-Wish kid that, I may be at Australia to, do whatever, latest smackdown on someone's candy ass, whatever the case may be. But clearly that's not happening. So because of all the speculation and everybody, even I was like, what if MJF showed up? And I said, if MJF showed up, that'll be the biggest blow to AEW. But I think the last two participants in the Men's Royal Rumble was enough of a blow to Tony Khan. To see two people, and Cody even said it in his press conference. He said, me and Punk went to AEW, and we never really had a moment together. Think about that. You had two of the most polarizing stars in wrestling under one roof, and you didn't capitalize on that story, or could have. And like I told my brother yesterday, I said somewhere in Jacksonville, Tony Khan is air punching. He's pissed. He's hurt. You know? But this ain't about AEW. This ain't about Tony Khan. This is about Royal Rumble, WWE, WrestleMania. Match of the night for me would be the United States title. Say what you want to say about Logan Paul. Love him or hate him. The man knows how to put on. The man knows how to put on a show. And he just gradually gets better every match. He just gets better every match. I was a little disappointed in the finish of the match, because it was one of those things where it's like, oh man, like here we go. Grace, I think it was Austin Theory with the brass knucks to him, and he takes the brass knucks. Kevin Owens takes it from Logan and hits him, and the ref does the 1-2 and then looks at his hand. And I get it, because I don't think you wanted Kevin Owens to lose clean to Logan Paul. There had to be some foolery to happen. So what does this mean for Kevin Owens moving forward? I don't know, because what does this mean? Because I can see a situation where we have Kevin Owens possibly facing Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, but does that mean Sammy's going to SmackDown? I don't know the direction that we're going to see with Kevin Owens moving forward. You know, my brother has become a fan of Kevin Owens, I believe, because he was saying like, yo, he really is like, he gives that old Attitude Era feel. My brother is, we grew up fans. My brother left. He only comes around once in a blue moon. This is the blue moon. So when he comes in and he sees certain things, he goes like, oh man, like, yeah, like he kind of gives me the feel of like the Attitude Era or something like that. And I have to then let him know about these particular people and things like that. But it's always a good time when my brother gets back into it, because, you know, it's just something that we can, you know, conversate and have fun with. So let's see, what else did I have? I had Performer of the Night. Performer of the Night, obviously, in my opinion, was the role model herself, Bayley, setting a record for the Women's Royal Rumble. I had to think about it, because I said she entered, I believe, 3 or 4, and she broke Rhea's record, and Rhea entered at number 1. And I was kind of like, that's kind of how, but then I looked at the length of time for the Rumble. This Rumble was almost about an hour and maybe 20 minutes, give or take. So that's clearly why she broke the record. But Bayley, to me, was the Performer of the Night. Gunther Gunther's a honorable mention. So is Cody. So is the participants in the Fatal 4-Way. I know a lot of y'all are thinking, franchise, you don't have the Fatal 4-Way as the match of the night. You're always big on Roman. I am. But I feel, though, as if with Roman, with this particular match, I agree with Sam Roberts. I wanted to see Roman win without any help. I did. I didn't want to see any assistance from the bloodline, because you going into Mania, Roman has to, not saying that Roman doesn't look strong, but Roman has to look very dominant. He has to look like, yo, I'm not taking no shit from nobody. I'm proving that I can do all this, with no assistance. Now, I know people's like, oh, but he's a heel. Heels cheat. That is very true. However, I look at when Adam Cole was a part of the Undisputed Era in NXT. And there were a few matches that Adam Cole had where Adam Cole won clean. And Adam Cole was a heel. He was a heel, and he won some of the matches clean. So you can do it. It's just, I would have much rather seen him win without any help from the bloodline. But I'm going to get into Roman Reigns a little bit later. I will say that it was a very heartfelt moment for me at my brother's house when Roman came out, and I'm sitting there, and my niece and my nephew is there with me, and my brother wants to get my nephew, mainly my nephew, to adopt the love that we have for wrestling. And when Roman came out, I was like, hey, everybody, put your ones up in the air. And I'm like, my brother's just, he's not a Roman fan per se. So I'm like, this is like, you're about to witness greatness. You're about to witness greatness. And my nephew puts his one up in the air like this. My niece puts her one up in the air like that. My nephew sees the 3D image of Roman when he does his ooh ah, and my nephew's standing there. My nephew is like kind of in between the couches, and he no shirt on doing ooh ah, and I'm like, see, he got it. He knows what's up. He kept talking about Joe Knight, which is The Rock's character from the Game Plan. But it made me feel good to see that, my nephew is now learning, and he was glued. He was locked in. He was, he started to go into like the kitchen area and started to like, he's looking, and I'm noticing that he's mimicking some of the stuff. My niece seen Bianca Belair and started taking her hair and braiding it and had the braid like Bianca, and she's like, Uncle, I want, like, she wants a Bianca Belair shirt. So now I got to go buy her a Bianca Belair shirt. So it was just like, those moments, because it made me think of when I was a kid and how I fell in love with wrestling and watching it and mimicking what I'm seeing. And I even remember when I was a kid and I had the action figures and I'm watching it, but I'm reenacting it with my wrestlers and all this. So it was very much a good feeling for me to see my niece and nephew do that. My other niece was asleep and the oldest was gone. But moments of the night, feel good moments of the night. Obviously, the return of Naomi, the return of Andrade, Pat McAfee showing up, and the debut of Jade Cargill. My brother is a big fan of Jade Cargill. A few other people that I know are big fans of her. Y'all know how I feel about Jade. I want to see more. It was a good spot to have her debut at the Royal Rumble because, yes, the focus is on her because it's her debut, but she can kind of get familiar. And as I was watching it, I did notice she did seem a little, I don't want to say out of place. I would say overwhelmed. You know, my brother spotted that there was a point where Naomi kind of looked like she was talking to her. And at one point I was like, well, she's the seasoned person in that ring. You know, Bayley was there, but Naomi was literally the oldest vet in that ring at the time. So, of course, she's going to check on Jade and make sure that she was good and things like that. And there were some times where you could tell that she kind of misstepped, misread something or prematurely did something. But it's just taking time. You know, I get it. I see the megastar in her. I just want her to earn that title. You know, when I think about the success of, you know, what she did in AEW, it was more so like Goldberg-like. And when you put Goldberg in the ring with a vet or with someone who has the in-ring capability, they get exposed. And then you get to see you're really not that great in the ring. You just have an aura. As Triple H said, that's the new word. But I've always said the aura of somebody. You have this aura. You have this vibe. You have this attraction that pulls people in and be like, it's something about you that makes you that person. And you see that with Jade. Loved the moment next to her eliminating Nia Jax, the way she eliminated Nia. But the moment, the face-off between Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair erupted. Like, you can tell, you can feel like it was there and it was off. Yes, this is it. This is what we've been waiting for. We've been clamoring for, Jade and Bianca. And I would love to see it. I definitely would love to see it. I think, man, what it would have been like if Charlotte Flair was in the Royal Rumble and you had Charlotte and Jade face off. That would have been something. You know, you didn't really see Becky and hers face off. It was just more so when she eliminated Nia, it was like, oh, like, you know, but you didn't get that face off because I don't think that they're looking at Bianca or Jade and Becky as like that. And Cody won in the Royal Rumble. So it's a kind of like a mix between who I have in there. It's not in there, but the funny moments is when like R-Truth came out for the Women's Royal Rumble and he got eliminated. When R-Truth entered the Men's Royal Rumble and thought it was a tag team, and my brother's like, yo, what is wrong with him? And I said, it's R-Truth. He is the comedian. He is the one that's going to get the comedic out of it. He's going to get the funness out of this, which was always a thing. And Pat McAfee, who a lot of people think was the replacement for Brock Lesnar, entering the Royal Rumble, but entering it with Omos. He was like, he gets in the ring, looks, gets out the ring, gets back in the ring, eliminates himself, gets back on commentator and was like, Cole, shut up. Why didn't nobody tell me this man was 7'3"? Like, it was those moments. Cause I think it was Gunther and Omos faced off and Pat McAfee got in the ring. But, I mean, it was, those were my moments. Let's get into Bayley. Oh, TNA Knockout Champion, Jordynne Grace. Another, I believe 2 years ago, it was the first time that active TNA, at the time, Impact person was in the Royal Rumble. That was Mickie James when she was the Impact Knockout Champion. Now you have 2 years later, Jordynne Grace, Knockout Champion, who defeated Naomi to win the Knockouts title. Having her there, that was kind of a good thing. But let's talk about the winners, okay? And then I'm going to dive into where do we go from here? So Bayley wins the Royal Rumble. Obviously, she, leading up to it, was saying that she was going to go off and challenge Rhea for the women's world title and win, and now Damage Control will have all the belts. I do not believe we're going to get Rhea versus Bayley. Here's why. I feel like this is going to be very similar to when Batista won the Royal Rumble and fought Triple H. Because remember, he had the choice of going against, I believe it was it Cena? No, it wasn't Cena. It was JBL. Cena fought JBL for the title. It was Batista winning, and then Batista having to pick between JBL and Triple H. And Triple H and Flair were egging Batista to go challenge JBL on SmackDown so we can have the title, so we can run both Raw and SmackDown. It is a very similar path but they're not telling Bayley to do it. Bayley just said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to enter the Royal Rumble, win the Royal Rumble, go on to face Rhea and take the title from her. I can see something like that, and then maybe leading up to it, she hasn't declared. But then you start to see Damage Control show their true colors. Like when Asuka entered the Rumble and Bayley was like, what are you doing here? And they went to high five. They did it. When the Kabuki Warriors won the tag team titles on Friday, the celebration was more Io, Dakota, and the Kabuki Warriors. Bayley was trying to celebrate, but they weren't including her. So I can see a situation where the true feelings of Damage Control gets revealed, and then Bayley decides, I'm facing Io instead, because I want to take the title from Io. So if we get Io versus Bayley at WrestleMania, where does this leave Rhea Ripley? somebody made a return at the Royal Rumble. And that somebody is Liv Morgan. And I believe cold-heartedly that if there's one person that Rhea will drop the belt to, it will be Liv. There's history there. There is. Liv was taken out by Rhea Ripley. Even dating back before Rhea joined the Judgment Day, Rhea and Liv were tag team partners. When Rhea turned on Liv, it was because she just couldn't deal with the dynamic. And then she joined Judgment Day. There is long-term story with Rhea and Liv. And then there is that underdog. It's that Rhea will look at Liv and say, you ain't got it in you to beat me. I taken you out. I will take you out again. And you built this story, and Liv finally gets that one up on Rhea and beats Rhea. Recently, I think it was an interview where they asked Rhea, what other female would you want to see in the Judgment Day if you had a choice? And she said Liv, because she said Liv has a lot of potential that a lot of people don't see. Liv doesn't even see this potential. So it'll be interesting to see. But if they do go with Bayley versus Rhea, in which Rhea's not going to lose to Bayley, which then could lead to Damage Control kicking her out, which then could possibly lead to the return of Sasha Monet or Sasha Banks, a.k.a. Mercedes Monet. I can see that. But then where does that leave Io? Who would challenge Io? Will we get Bianca Belair? It'll be interesting, or could we get a triple threat for the women's title at Mania? Liv, Becky, Rhea. Maybe. I do see Elimination Chamber for the women. Whoever Bayley decides to choose for the title, that opposing champ, Elimination Chamber. Same goes with Cody Rhodes. We all know it. I've already said it before. Cody's finishing the story. Cody, Roman, Mania. Seth Rollins, Elimination Chamber. He's not going. The winner of the Elimination Chamber faces Seth Rollins at Mania. I thought about it. These are the three solid people that I know is going to be in this Elimination Chamber. CM Punk, Gunther, Drew McIntyre. Now, the other three, maybe Jey Uso, maybe Bronson Reed, maybe Shinsuke Nakamura, maybe Sami Zayn. Maybe somebody from SmackDown. I don't know, because they're going to have to do something because Cody is going to SmackDown. So I can see them doing like a trade-off. Somebody from SmackDown. Maybe we get AJ Styles there. I don't see Randy going to Raw. I don't see LA Knight going to Raw because LA Knight, is going after the United States title. That's kind of been a foregone conclusion. That's what's going to happen because, like Liv and Rhea, there's a story with LA Knight and Logan Paul dating back to Money in the Bank. I want to circle back to Cody for a second because Cody during his press conference, he pretty much did allude to how he's the guy and has been the guy. And I will say, and this goes to, everybody that was, suspecting that Cody wasn't going to finish the story. Like, I've had conversations with people and they're like, Cody's not finishing the story. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for Cody to win the Royal Rumble back to back. That's just stupid. No one's done it. And the people that have said this are wrestling fans who should know that there's been 3 back-to-back winners in Royal Rumble history. It hasn't been done in a very long time, as they alluded to when Cody won, or leading up to Cody winning. That it's been 26 years since the last person who won it back-to-back, and that's Stone Cold Steve Austin. But we have Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, which I told him, I'll say it. I told Jalil that, it was like, it was those 3. Cody could win the Royal Rumble. What do you mean it doesn't make sense? You have history now. Hasn't been done in 26 years. Well, it happened now. So now we have Cody versus Roman. A lot of people, like I said, thought that it was going to be The Rock. I didn't see that. As I've said before, The Rock versus Roman doesn't need the undisputed Universal Heavyweight title, because they're fighting for a bigger title. That's the head of the Adewale family. I don't know what else I need to tell you guys. We're on the road. We're on the road to WrestleMania. What do I see so far? Like I told you guys, I can see obviously Logan Paul versus LA Knight, Cody versus Roman, Jey Uso. I don't know what they're doing with Jey Uso, because we did see Jey and Jimmy being 1 and 2. It was very cute that both Naomi and Jimmy Uso was number 2 in their respective Royal Rumbles. Do I see do I see Jey versus Jimmy at WrestleMania? I don't know. I don't know. I felt though as if, and I feel though as if maybe we get Jey versus Gunther at WrestleMania, because I feel like they want to give Jey a singles push with that Intercontinental title, and I think him beating Gunther would be the move. I showed my brother, because I was like, dude, you got to see when Jey Uso comes out. You got to see how the crowd reacts when he gets on the rope and he starts doing this. Like, I'm like, you got to see how the whole crowd is doing it in unison. He's over, like super over, even though my brother was dying laughing at Jimmy Uso, because Jimmy Uso was just the comic relief next to R-Truth. But throughout the whole Royal Rumble, before he got eliminated, Jimmy Uso was that relief. They're talking about Priest versus Finn at Mania. Possibly Priest getting kicked out of Judgment Day. I don't know what you're doing with Dom. I don't know what you're doing with the Kabuki Warriors. Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. That's going to be it. Don't really know what you're going to do with Drew. I'm very interested to see what we're doing with this year's WrestleMania. I am, because you really don't know what's happening. 2 nights, and you got some time now. You do have some time. So that's it for this portion of Wrestle Talk with the Franchise. This was my Royal Rumble post show. Let me know what y'all thought of Royal Rumble. Let me know if y'all were right with y'all predictions, even though I don't know what y'all predicted. And y'all could easily say, well, yeah, I predicted that Cody was going to win, when y'all really didn't. Y'all probably picked, like, CM Punk, like I did. It's very funny because when I was making the post for the Instagram page, I mentioned, like, I had a picture of Liv, and then I was going to put or Becky, right? That's how I had it. I had it set like that because I was like, I just feel like Liv was going to be the surprise and come out and win. Obviously, that didn't happen, but let me know who y'all had winning. What do y'all see happening moving forward with the road to WrestleMania? Where do you see the Elimination Chamber going? Who will be a part of it? We're probably going to find more things out this upcoming Monday and Friday. More so Monday. And let's enjoy this because, man, I said it last year. I said at the end of last year, and I will say it now. What a time to be a wrestling fan. What a time to be a wrestling fan. But there is some darkness that we have to address, and I will address that in the next video. He is I am the franchise, a.k.a. the podcast Tribal Chief. Make sure that you follow us on Instagram at RCW_podcast. Make sure that you follow the Ace on Instagram at RCW_Ace. I will be back in a little bit with another episode of Wrestle Talk with the Franchise. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And if you haven't, make sure you hit that notification bell so you are up to date when more content is dropping. I will be back. It's time to get serious.